our charts in Project Glad. We echo the words of Leanna Trail that we want our walls to be dripping with language. This includes an organic living element to our charts. They are interactive, collaborative learning resources that live with us throughout the unit of study. To avoid our charts becoming posters or mere wallpaper, we process them whole class and we keep them accessible for students to interact with on an ongoing basis. In Add to the Walls, students interact with the chants as a team, with a partner, or by themselves. There's lots of options. The type of interaction they choose is based on a menu of strategies to differentiate support and provide more choice and student ownership of the process. The only supplies needed are strips of paper or little squares, and I just take an 8.5 by 11 and cut it out. Keep those in a box and Add to the Walls is ready to go. Number 1, word to word. This is simply students making a word-to-word correspondence with the vocabulary on your chart. It's akin to you highlighting the word that students called out during whole class processing. Only this time, the student is the one literally making the connection with the chant. They would find a word or a phrase that they like, that's new, that's interesting, that's scientific, write it on a strip of paper, and then tape it up directly on top of the word or phrase on the chant. In this picture, we switched things up a bit and we passed out word cards to the students as a way of processing the chant, similar to the way we would use word cards in processing a pictorial or a graphic organizer. And you can see Ming Tran here finding that word-to-word correspondence. Number 2, language swap. This is a great way to promote primary language as well as multiliteracy skills. Students select a word, they write it on a strip of paper in another language, and then they tape that word on top of, above, or below the original word. So in this case we have danger. The student wrote peligro, and they're going to tape it right up below the word danger. In dual classrooms, we often do this by having chants written in different languages and then processing them using the other language. Number 3, word study. Word study Add to the Walls is exactly what we modeled whole class with a word study on the chart. Only this time, students choose a word, they access their resources, they write their word study on a little piece of paper, and then they would put that up on the chart right beside the word. If you feel comfortable, you can even have students write their word studies directly on the chart itself. Number 4, word to picture. We know that sketching enhances and solidifies meaning. It links the linguistic and the verbal parts of our brain together. Word to picture is not just a primary option. It supports language and vocabulary development for all of our students. Very simple. Again, we just found a word that we wanted to make a sketch from, like we already modeled. The student does a little sketch and they put it on the chart by that word or as close to it as they can. Now, on our chant, we modeled sketches and we modeled pictures. So if you have the resources available, students could find pictures on the internet, print those out, and add them to the chant as long as they cite their source. Number 5, research interesting facts. Depending on your content, it may ignite students' curiosity about the content itself. In this case, on a little square piece of paper, students would do some additional research, add the information they learned, cite their source, and add it to the chart. So what you see on this chart is that I embedded into the chant itself QR codes that link students to websites, to videos, where they can dig deeper into some of this fascinating content. In this case, the student would have looked up the QR code here on weather or climate. They created a Venn diagram and they would then put that on the chart. You could also have a research section in your classroom where students can strengthen and stretch their understanding and feed some of that curiosity. Number 6, application. This is a nice option, especially for those math chants. Maybe the chant details the difference between mean, median, and mode, and students would write or solve a problem illustrating the mean, the median, or the mode, and then place that on a strip of paper or a square and put it on the chart. In this case, we have an example where we're looking at how to reduce our carbon footprints, and so we have a sketch of less driving and more biking and walking. That would go right up by carbon footprints reducing. An important part of Team Add to the Walls is the interaction and the movement that's happening within the classroom during this time. Eliminating this collaborative piece with teams, with partner support, and just skipping directly to individual processing of a chant on a tablet or in a handout, it will miss the critical component of the learning process. If you're in a physical classroom setting and you really want to integrate more technology, we recommend still creating the physical chant, going through it whole class, processing it just like we did here, keeping it visible for daily resourcing and collaboration, and then also making it available for individual access on student Chromebooks and tablets.